while we were doing all of these things, right, the company has been talking about a fair pricing thing, right? How do you give a fair price to your customers? And the best place to start was from the farm side itself, right? So how do you grade a cocoon today? There are many ways that people are doing it from their forefathers. But what we have done is we have done it on a AI/ML computer vision algorithm today, where you can cut the cocoons, take a photograph, upload it, tells you whether it is grade A, B, C or D.
Okay.
Right? Then all these cocoons, they need mulberry leaves, right? While they are breeding, they need mulberry leaves. So we also had a project where we were working on the satellite images provided by Google, where we can paint out where are the mulberry cultivation that is happening in this state. Okay. So we were also doing that, and then we also did one of the other thing, which is what you call is predicting the cocoon prices. Right. Okay. So what would be your cocoon price for this month? Whereas the Mandi prices changes every day, but we also have a forecasting algorithm that tells us what would be your price. Right? So these were the things that was done to scale the business. But while we were scaling the business, right, a lot of due diligence also came into picture. Am I talking to the right customer? Am I doing the right judgment in my buying and selling? So your control of your buying and selling was introduced in the system. So if you want to buy something, you have standard prices that you can buy with your levels of hierarchies and all that. Similarly, when you sell things, the level of discounts that you can ask for, right, or the margins if they goes down, right. So all of these things were introduced in the system. But this was not enough, right? So what we also need was, am I talking to the right customer? Know your customer, right? So that is where PAN was bought in, GST was bought in, and then we integrated with a third-party software system known as Karza, which gave you the real-time validity of your PAN card, GST and all other things. Coming back to ReshaMudra, it's an interesting story. We were thinking of getting ReshaMudra. Can we buy this as a software service from outside? Should we build it? It was a question of buy versus build. Because of so many reasons, we ended up building it, and we are proud of that we have built it today in-house. So it is not lesser than what LOS and LMS system that exist in most of the banks today. But the good part was it was built here, and the first loan product was built in a month's time.
Which itself is amazing.
Right.
Having worked in different organizations where I have worked with LOS before, this is a marvelous achievement by our team where, within a month we got to see LOS. We got to see the product. Right. That itself is great.
So we did that, and then all of these integrations that people talk about, right? Like you are talking about CIBIL scores, we pull it from Experian, we do bank statement analysis, Precisa, we do invoice analysis, that is Montigo. We do penny drop checking, we do e-natch mandates, everything was there, right? So we did all of those things, right? That is how ReshaMudra was built. And then last not the least, like I was telling, we were hundreds of users in the very beginning, right? But today we have 150,000 users, which means that our volumes have increased now. So if I give you the current stats, okay, we cater to 1 million requests every day.
Wow.
Okay, so that is from outside of the system.
Okay.
The request that internally splits into multiple requests within the system is at least 2 times or 3 times. So we are talking about 1 million requests outside of the system,
multiplied internally,
and multiplied internally downstream, right? So that is the scale that we are running today. So ReshaMandi has a full-blown Kubernetes cluster which is deployed in-house in AWS, running more than 60 plus microservices, and that is where we stand today. So we are still continuing to build it. I think on the next episodes of Mandi Ki Baatein, you would hear that we now support 10 million requests.
Wow, waiting to see that day. Right. We were talking about IoT devices, you were talking about mobile platform, you were talking about OCC platform, LOS, LMS, a lot of things. So if I ask you to pick out one thing that really excited you, one product which really, you felt real good making it, what would that be?
Okay.
And you'll have to share some experiences also.
Yeah, definitely. That is, I wouldn't say it's a very difficult question.
But it's a very interesting question.
Very
for our
interesting question.
viewers.
Yes, yes, yes. But if you ask me, I feel like which is your favorite kid? Okay, so it is like that. Okay. So I may not say that this is favorite or that is favorite, but there are many things that has happened. But I'll pick some of the interesting use cases that has made this exciting journey in ReshaMandi today. So let me start by the first thing is the fair pricing thing that we were just talking about, right?
Okay.
So we deal with cocoons, we deal with yarns, we deal with cotton today. The thing is, how do you give a fair price? The only way to, what we believe is the only way to give a fair price is by showing what is there running in the market and what is that you are giving to your customers, right? Yes. So that was one of the most critical thing is what I believe and what we built today. So today we aggregate all the prices across all the cocoon mandis and also the price that ReshaMandi is giving. Okay.
That itself is a task.
That itself is a task, but we are doing that today. Okay. On the other side, the same thing we had. So this changes on daily basis. Okay. And there is no standard platform you can pull it from. This is on the ground system that happens. Oh. So you have to have somebody on the ground to get this data right to you on the time before the transaction starts. Whereas on the yarn side, it also fluctuates, but may not be in daily basis, possibly in a week's time. But yes, the same challenges exist there as well. We started cotton recently. Now we are pulling the cotton data, the cotton price per day or per minute at every hour of the day, what it is changing real time from money control APIs. Okay. So that is one of the interesting thing that we did. Then the other interesting thing was, of course, the thing about computer vision that we built for cocoon grading. Okay. It was just a project that we took, and when you cut the cocoons and then you take a photograph, the grade comes out, and it just takes less than 30 seconds to get all of these, right? And the user gets to see all of these things in front of him or her, right? So that is one other best thing that we did. This thing's known as buy plans for retailers. So basically a retailer, they make plans for their merchandising 6 months in advance, years in advance, right? So how do you make those buy plans with ReshaMandi, right? So we also had those features being built. The other thing that we also did was we wanted to enable our weavers to digitize their catalog. They are producing a lot of sarees. Yeah. How do you digitize them, right? So you need a platform for that, right? So ReshaMandi bought in that and developed that particular platform where you can upload your sarees and then you get a curated catalog out of it.
Okay.
All right. So that is something that we did on the mobile app side, and then the other thing was mapping the right demand to the right source. Right. It was a very tough exercise, but we have been able to do that today. And talking about other features, we have built a lot of features, but I think these are some of the key
that you are actually proud of.
That we are, yes. So Beneesh, long conversation. We have started loving this conversation now. Yeah. One thing that strikes me now is like, what are some of the pain points that your stakeholders seek credit for, and how do you work with them on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. So, as I was telling earlier, textile industry per se is not a very favored sector for traditional bankers. Mm-hmm. So particularly when you see traditional bankers, they are concentrating on the larger players where they have volume of business, where more or less their credit that they give out is more assured. So that sort of a place is where traditional bankers concentrate on. So our stakeholders who are at the lower rung of this entire supply chain, they are very small guys. So they have a problem, negotiating better prices. They have an issue in managing their debtor cycle, because they don't get paid very fast. That negotiation skill is not there, and they have very limited resources from which to buy raw materials. So when they have money, they are forced to buy raw materials at whatever price they get, because they have money there. Tomorrow, when they actually need to buy raw materials and they don't have money, they struggle. They go to a normal money lender who obviously flees them out, or rather charge them exorbitant rates. So these are the typical historical pain points that this segment has been seeing. So when we entered this market, we felt that we have the expertise of what ReshaMandi has been doing. We know ReshaMandi buys and sells, how they buy, how they sell. So we know where the intervention is actually required. So we started curating products that are actually required for that particular person to solve this particular pain points. So we started out with invoice financing, wherein if they want to buy some raw materials, even if they don't have money, if their lines are in place, they can always avail these lines to pay upfront to their raw material suppliers. So they get better prices since they have cash to buy. They can negotiate better. So overall, their profitability increases. So that is one product. And to large players where they sell, if they don't get payments on time, we discount those bills, give them upfront payment. So overall, the working capital cycle is something that we are looking to improve for these people. One last thing from my end is, where do you see the tech, or rather the technology side of ReshaMandi going forward in future?
Yeah, I think it's a very long, broader question that you have asked, but what I'll do is I'll start from little bit beginning. Like by now we have already proved that ReshaMandi is a very core deep tech company right now, right? The kind of automations that we have placed, the kind of solutions that we have given, the kind of integrations that we have made, I think these are all proves us that we are a very core tech company now. But if you ask me where does it goes from now, I think there is a very long way to go, but I'll give you a glimpse of what ReshaMandi is going to look like, how does the technology is going to look like right in the coming days. So our founders, Mayank Tiwari, Saurav Agarwal, they have placed a very very beautiful acronym in place, what we call them as MMADs today.
Okay.
Right. So MMADs it starts with Mudra as a service, then merchandising as a service, another A, automation as a service, demand as a service, sourcing as a service. So if we cater to all of these 5 things on the supply chain that we are doing today, I think the entirety of the spectrum can be visualized at. Now, how do you accomplish this? What we have done so far was the preparation towards it. Okay. Now the actual journey begins from here, right? Now, in order to do that, all of this MMADs concept, I think the data has to speak for the company, not by somebody else, right? And in order to do that, what we need is a very robust software infrastructure which runs behind ReshaMandi to power the entire concept and the entire company in the coming days and years to come.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot for being so elaborate. It's been a very knowledgeable session. I'm sure most of our viewers would have loved hearing about it.
Likewise, sir. Thank you for enabling us to understand what credit is. I personally don't come from a banking background per se, but today I know at least some of the basics of how credit, how finance, it works in a fintech company. So we just came to the end of our 8th episode of Mandi Ki Baatein. I'm sure you guys would love this and you would be eagerly waiting for the next episode for Mandi Ki Baatein. So stay tuned, stay focused. We are coming right away to you in some days.
मंडी की बातें